I really liked Into the Spider-Verse, but unlike everyone else, I didn't become a fan of it right out of the gate. In fact, my score for the movie got 1 point higher after each rewatch, and now I think the movie is really good, but I wouldn't necessarily say I loved the movie. But then I saw Across the Spider-Verse, and I love this movie. There were certain problems I had with the first Spider-Verse, and those have all been rectified here. The frame rate of the animation in the first movie bothered me, but here they seem to be less aggressive, and I actually really liked it this time. The jokes were great in this movie, and even the ones that didn't work were not cringeworthy, and the song choices were much better and less jarring here too. Going back to the animation, seriously, Into the Spider-Verse invented a new style of animation, and even though other movies have tried something similar lately, Spider-Verse is still the best in its class when it comes to this style of animation. The colors, the different animation styles, it is all able to appear on screen at once, and it all fits and doesn't look out of place. The story was great, the characters and their development was incredibly well written, the villain is incredibly dangerous, and they actually describe him as being a freak of the week for a while, which was hilarious. But that joke doesn't stay with him to an exhausting degree. There is even a joke about holes, which was very funny here and smartly written, as opposed to whatever the hell the joke was in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Although he's not in the movie much, so we're gonna have to see more of him in the next film. But the film did an excellent job at very quickly tying his existence to Miles Morales, and it's amazing how he very quickly becomes such a huge threat. And the tone of this movie is more mature than the last one. I would even say that despite the number of jokes in this movie, it focuses even more on the drama, especially when the tragedy that Miles has to face comes around and all the Spider-Mans have to face off against him in a Civil War-like battle, which is the best I've seen in any comic book movie, both with its action and writing. And the ingenious utilization of the multiverse in this movie was so smart, and the way they incorporate canon into the multiverse, this really felt like it was using the multiverse to be smart, rather than just to give you a rush of nostalgia like other multiverse movies do. It felt like the multiverse was flowing through this movie in every single aspect of its being. I'm not kidding, guys. By the time we got to the third act and Miles had to face off against all the Spider-Men, I was confident that I was going to give this a 10 out of 10. But then we got to the ending, and this is my only problem with the movie. This movie ends with a cliffhanger, and I thought it cut the movie off in a way that did not feel fulfilling and left me feeling incomplete. I get that this is a part 1, but I was kind of hoping that it would pull an Avengers Infinity War, whereby the movie was a part 1, but it ended feeling like a complete movie, and it had a beginning, middle, and end. But Across the Spider-Verse feels like you get a beginning and a middle, and that's it. And Beyond the Spider-Verse will give us the rest of the middle and the end. I really didn't like that, and the cliffhanger that Miles gets feels like a cliffhanger that you would get at the end of a TV show, whereas Gwen's cliffhanger felt like something you would get from a movie. Both me and my brother felt this way about the ending, and I'm sure when the next movie comes out we will feel better about it, but right now, I left feeling unfulfilled to the point that my perfect score took a hit. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse gets a 9 out of 10. I loved this movie, and I actually would have gone to see it in theaters again, but the two-part split of this movie reminded me more of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows two-part split, rather than Avengers Infinity War split. But still, this is an amazing Spider-Man movie, and it only further puts Miles Morales on the map and makes him even more popular and iconic as a Spider-Man. This is what I mean when I talk about doing representation with original characters, rather than just giving them scraps and race-bending them. The race-bended characters are going to be completely forgotten, whereas the potential of creating brand new characters is much more exciting. Everyone involved with the making of this film deserves a medal. This is one of the best animated movies I've seen in a long time, and it is the best Spider-Man movie I've seen since Spider-Man 2. This animated Marvel movie puts all the recent lazily written comic book movies from the MCU to shame. Although nothing puts Morbius to shame, let's make that clear. Morbius puts everything else to shame. It's that good. And it's hilarious that Disney, of all people, can't make a successful animated movie lately, and both Universal and Sony is beating them in the playground and taking their lunch money. This is top tier comic book storytelling and character development, and it was full of heart and drama, and the action took more of a back seat, which I found to be interesting, but I really did like it, and the action that was there was still phenomenal, and I cannot wait to see how this all culminates in Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. A huge thanks to all of my patrons for continuing to support me. Keep your eyes peeled as the relaunch of my Patreon is getting closer and closer, and you will be getting new shows, one of which will be at the same price as one of my current tiers. So sound off below with your thoughts on Across the Spider-Verse and let me know what you thought of the movie, and how an animated Sony Marvel movie is the most exciting thing to come from Marvel throughout this year. Thanks as always for watching everyone, and just a further little side note about Disney, and I have mentioned this in my live streams before, but don't be surprised if Disney sell Lucasfilm off soon. Most likely back to George Lucas, just like they did with the Power Rangers IP and its creator. I should have a video coming soon where I talk about their failing with every IP from Lucasfilm, so keep your eyes peeled. Thanks again for watching everyone, and I will see all of you very soon. Take care.